Part 2, Noble Cause Corruption. Noble cause corruption is a teleological, ends-oriented approach to an ethical dilemma that says law enforcement professionals will utilize unethical and sometimes illegal means to obtain a desired result. Remember, we are talking about good officers trying to do the right thing, noble cause, but due to bureaucratic red tape, a lack of evidence, or any other roadblock to getting the job done, they feel forced to bend or even break the rules to catch the bad guy, corruption. The bottom line, noble cause corruption, and thus teleological ideologies in general, dramatically increase the likelihood of a serious situation that could easily turn horribly messy, ending your career in law enforcement and potentially scarring or ending the lives of you and or others. So what do you do when faced with the temptation of noble cause corruption? The answer is simple. Remember your ethical training. Today, a large portion of research is focused on educational settings, academy settings, and in-service ethics training. On average, approximately 1/3 of all incoming academy cadets have a teleological ethical ideology, which puts them at risk for noble cause corruption once they begin their field training. While on the surface this may seem like bad news, the good news is educators and academy instructors can increase the focus of their instruction on conducting oneself in an honorable and professional manner. As a police officer, how would you avoid an ethical crisis? There are a number of techniques that can modify the ethical orientation of new officers. The following 2 techniques are simple guidelines any senior officer can use to help direct a rookie through a difficult situation. 1. Follow policies and procedures, P&P. Every department has a standard set of P&P. When in doubt, especially if you're a new recruit, default to these tested and approved guidelines. At the very least, when internal affairs comes knocking at your door, you'll not only be able to articulate how you did what you did, but more importantly, why you did it. Number 2, always act professionally, AAP. Sure, this sounds simple enough, but any seasoned professional knows how quickly rationality can be pushed aside by pride, stubborn goals, or adrenaline. If you ever struggle with this, try to remember the following. If you always act professionally, you'll be less apt to get in trouble. Yes, I know app should be pronounced apt, but then it wouldn't help you remember the rules. I'm hoping all of you by now have a good idea of what AAP or app means. Having worked in the criminal justice field for over 40 years, I can certainly sympathize with the temptation to fall into the trap of noble cause corruption. We all have goals we're expected to achieve. Officers, for instance, are expected to be vigilant while on patrol, be proactive in catching the bad guys, and effectively use discretion while at the same time being fair and equitable, a challenge in and of itself. If you're not able to achieve these goals, especially when getting pressure from above to do your job, the temptation to adopt an ends-oriented approach increases dramatically. Never forget, however, that conducting yourself in an honorable and professional manner is always more important than the end result, a deontological perspective. If you don't believe me, take a moment and think of people you know that you admire, respect, and someday hope to emulate. Chances are they're the ones who believe the ends do not justify the means and act accordingly. Do you want to know your ethical ideology? If you do, then follow the instructions to take the Ethical Ideology Survey in Week 12, Section Ethical Survey.